look at our WinFuel Winning Edge. Today's Winning Edge is brought to you by WinFuel. It's all about winning. Reed Sorensen of the 41 going by Denny Hamlin. Sorensen has led twice today for 129 laps.
Right now, he is in the third position.
Next weekend, NASCAR moves to Bristol. Our coverage begins on Friday with Nextel Cup and Busch Series practice on speed, followed by Nextel Cup qualifying. Then next Saturday, it's Busch Series qualifying on speed, followed by Busch Series racing presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups on Fox. Next Sunday begins with NASCAR This Morning on speed, leading up to Nextel Cup racing on Fox. And then NASCAR Victory Lane wraps up the entire weekend on speed. Our coverage of NASCAR continues next weekend across the Fox network.
Even qualifying is exciting there. As Jeff Hammond put it, it's like fighter planes running around in a gymnasium.
Dick Berggren, what's going on?
Oh, there's a lot going on down here on pit road, Steve. Johnny Sauter stayed out, did not pit when the others did. Reason for that, he still has one set of fresh tires left to go. So if there's another caution between now and the end, they can fire 4 good ones on. Reed Sorensen did come down pit road, took fuel only. Same strategy by his crew chief, Brian Patty. They are saving one set of brand new tires. Jeff Hammond.
A lot of that same strategy up and down pit road. And for the 60 car, Carl Edwards, he's finally got his way back up in the top 5 guys. He came down to put on 2 tires, made a little air pressure adjustment in the right front, and he still has a set of scuffs that he feels like, along with his crew chief Brad Parrott, can get the job done if they need to have them. So a lot of strategy up and down pit road. We still got a good little ways to go.
Well, it's been quite a journey for Carl Edwards. Remember, spinning down through the grass early in the race as the caution came out. Johnny Sauter in the 1 gets in the back of him, but he's made it to the top 5. Now, Johnny Sauter, we saw on pit road last at lap 129. We do not think he can go to the end, but John Wood, the 47 car, he pitted on lap 139. He stayed out. 86 to go, possibly can make it to the end.
Johnny Sauter is your leader, followed by John Wood in the 47. Reed Sorensen in the 41 rides third, followed by Martin Truex Jr. in the 8 car. Carl Edwards 5th. Kenny Wallace in the 6th position in the 22 car. Denny Hamlin restarted 7th. Shane Meal 8th in the 32 car. Clint Boyer 9th. And in the 35 car, Jason Keller rides 10th.
These boys trying to lead a lap. John Wood in that 47 car, he did lead that lap. He says, hey, I see that 41 car coming. Let me at least lead 1 lap. But look at all the damage on the front of that car. And here he is up here leading the race. But he's got a lot of heat from the man that has dominated this event, Reed Sorensen in the 41. And we know Reed can make it to the end should we stay green.
Sorensen to the bottom of John Wood, and he'll make the pass. Down in turns 3.
Tell you what, the man coming, though, we've been talking about him, Martin Truex Jr. in that 8 car. Major adjustments early in the race. He's up here battling Johnny Sauter in the 1 for 3rd.
See John Wood in that 47 behind Sorensen. He was involved in an accident on lap 107. Aaron Fike spun into David Stremme, clipped the right front of John Wood's 47. Worked very hard to keep that car in race shape. And Wood rides 2nd.
Yeah, Jay Guy and that crew did a great job of repairing that car, and here he is up there running a pretty safe 2nd right now. See Carl Edwards in the 60 car. Jeff Hammond talked about it, taking just 2 right side tires full of fuel. Getting a little bit of heat from the 25 car right now, Ashton Lewis. But Ashton Lewis right now is 2 laps down, had that tire issue early. Is Martin Truex Jr. He'll just drive by Johnny Sauter in the 1. That was a battle for 3rd. Now Tyler Walker in the 38 right behind him. He's the first car lap down. He's the car now that would love to see a caution come out, because he would be back on the lead lap.
15 cars on the lead lap. 65 laps remaining. 4 cars out of this race. Mike Harmon, Stuart Kirby, Eric McClure, and Stanton Barrett, who just crashed on lap 151. Sorensen's lead now over a 2nd on John Wood. There you see the intervals.
I mean, it's almost like Reed Sorensen in the 41 car just runs the car as hard as he needs to. He's not abusing anything. You never see him get this car out of shape. It's their race to lose, I would say, as we got 64 laps to go.
And Larry, what makes this even more impressive, Brian Patty told me this morning the only time Sorensen had been to this racetrack was when Ganassi had a tryout. They invited him to come to Nashville with some other drivers to take some turns behind the wheel of one of their cars.
Well, obviously, it's worked out quite well for all parties involved.
It's worked out nicely for everybody.
But you mentioned Brian Patty. I think about Brian Patty's interview after qualifying last week at Atlanta, and he was so dejected. And I made the comment, he has a tall order now, because not only does he have to pick himself back up, but he has to pick that race team back up from that transmission failure that the 41 car did not even race last week at Atlanta.
But again, Sorensen got the driver points, even though he started Sterling Marlin's race car. Battle for fifth. Carl Edwards in the 60 to the left of your screen. Kenny Wallace in the 22 behind him.
Kenny Wallace has had a good race car. He's just still trying to overcome. You see one of the windshield tear-offs, a little clear piece of plastic that was flapping in the breeze there, and it finally came off. But looks like he's going to drive by Carl Edwards in the 60, as you mentioned. This will put Kenny back in the top 5. I think Kenny has had about the second best car here. He's just trying to overcome what happened to him early on the restart when he spun the rear tire.
It looked to me, Larry, like Carl Edwards gave him a hand signal, like go ahead underneath of me.
Well, you know what? Carl Edwards, he's big picture racing. Remember, he's leading the points by over 100 points. You know what? I'm not going to push the issue. Still, we have 60 laps to go. See Clint Boyer in the 2 car back there. Now he's back in the 8th position. Had a good run going earlier, but it's almost like that Jeff Hammond's been talking about the track changing. It's almost like the track has went away from Clint Boyer. In fact, the track is really starting to get some shade all the way around, really cooling down. The one car it's not affected, though, is that man leading the race right there, Reed Sorensen in the 41 car.
Reed Sorensen has led 3 times for 138 laps, 59 to go here at the Nashville Superspeedway. '19-year-old Reed Sorensen stays at the point here in Nashville, trying to win his first NASCAR Busch Series race. He got his first pole earlier today, 54 laps remaining.
He has led 143 laps of 171 laps, and the laps that he didn't lead was not virtue of the car going away. It was the virtue of strategy on other pit stops by other teams.
His lead over John Wood now 2.7 seconds. Now, Larry talked about Carl Edwards there in the 60 doing big picture racing, meaning racing for the championship. We mentioned we thought he made a hand signal earlier to Kenny Wallace. Let's take a look at the replay and see if we were right.
See, Kenny Wallace catches him. Coming off turn 4, he sees Kenny Wallace to the inside. I'm sure the spotter's telling him. There you see the hand signal. Look, I'll keep this line. You pass me on the inside. I'm not going to race you, because if we're racing side by side, we're losing more ground to that leader and to the cars in front of us. But Carl has since lost another position to Shane Mill in 32 car. So right now, with 52 laps to go, Carl Edwards is back in the 7th position. But considering he was backwards in the grass shortly before, just after the race got started, good top 10 would be pretty good here with a 105-point lead coming in.
Reed Sorensen came in here 4th in points. Dick Berggren has more on him.
Well, Chip Ganassi is one of the most successful race team owners in American motorsports right now, including winning the Indianapolis 500. His car with Reed Sorensen is leading this event. What did you see in this kid Sorensen that led you to hire him?
Well, you know, anytime you have a guy that's got a resume, I think at 16 years old, he had over 150 wins of one sort or another. I mean, you can't turn an eye to that.
Well, you did a good job, and he's doing a great job out there today, Chip.
And I just believe, Steve and Dick, that part of the key to Reed Sorensen's success this early in only his 10th start is Brian Patty. I think him and Brian Patty are complementing each other. That Reed Sorensen believes in Brian Patty when he says something, and you know what? I think Brian believes in Reed as well. When you have that, the rest comes a little easier.
Reed made 3 starts in the ARCA REMAX Series last year, Larry. He finished 4th at Charlotte, 1st at Michigan, 2nd at Talladega.